Monday Night Football, the Steelers beat the Giants 26-18. Pittsburgh 6-2 with the win, 3-1 at home. The Giants dropped to 2-6 overall, 2-2 away from home. Pittsburgh quarterback Russell Wilson, 20 of 28 passing, 278 yards, 1 touchdown. He connected with Calvin Austin III. Austin also had a punt return touchdown, 73 yards with 4:38 left in the third quarter. That put Pittsburgh up 16-9 at the time. His TD reception from Wilson came with 13:16 left in the fourth and gave the Steelers a 23-9 lead. Daniel Jones, 24 of 38 for the Giants, 264 yards. He was picked off once. Both quarterbacks faced lots of pressure. Jones sacked 4 times for a loss of 27, while Wilson was sacked 4 times for a loss of 19. The Steelers have wins in 3 straight. They sit atop the AFC North. 3 straight losses for the Giants.
Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Halloween's coming alive at Target. Jackie and Gordy, the Jack-O-Lanterns, here with last chance Halloween deals. Looks like Mom's got the old pumpkin bucket stocked with the best candy, starting at $5.99.
Lucky pumpkin bucket. Oh, there's Dad party planning with a same-day delivery order.
Yes, it's a BOGO 50% off pizza party with Target Circle. Plus, buy 3, save 40% on soda 12 packs with Target Circle.
Nice saves, Dad.
Make your Halloween come alive at Target. Need it last minute? Get same-day delivery with Target Circle 360. Restrictions apply.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Get sports gaming strategies and information 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Everything you need to get the winning edge right here.
No wonder the wife says you need to spend more time with the kids.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The only place in football where the offense is always on the field is on Moneyline. With the 2 best hosts in radio, Donnie Rightside.
If anybody wasn't watching, listen, I don't know what you were doing.
And Kevin Walsh.
Forget act like you've been there before.
On the SportsGrid Radio Network, SiriusXM Channel 159.
Welcome back in. What do you say? Another day of Moneyline on SportsGrid Radio at SiriusXM Channel 159. I'm Kevin Walsh on this Tuesday with you as we have an hour to scope it out, see what's what. I'm sure you can already expect that there will be plenty of NBA conversations, and there will be, as we have now played a week of basketball. We only have 4 games tonight, but it'll be fun to go through those matchups and try and see what's what. It'll be fun to try and figure out what's an overreaction, what is going to stick potentially from the opening week. We will talk some NFL as well. Last night's Monday Nighter was actually enjoyable. That's kind of how you know it can be tied to winning wagers because as someone who locked in on Daniel Jones passing props, things worked out. It was actually really nice. Didn't cover the number, which I've still successfully been able to at least now through 8 weeks avoid betting Daniel Jones on the spread, which I said I would do all season. And again, so far so good. What's that line against Washington next week? Oh boy, 3.5. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when we get there. But it was nice to win a little bit of money in Pittsburgh, New York. But I think maybe we should open with the World Series. I'm sure a lot of you out there are enjoying the World Series and betting on the World Series. Last night's World Series game, despite going head-to-head with a matchup of, Monday Night Football, it felt big, right? It felt just as big, if not bigger, right? It's Yankees-Dodgers. I mean, it also didn't hurt that it was only a Steelers-Giants game. Don't forget SportsGrid On Demand on YouTube. We've got that chat box up and running as always. Get your comments, questions, thoughts, and hellos in there as well. We love a good hello. We like to see that you're with us here on SportsGrid. But I figured we'll get the World Series portion out of the way. So for the New York Yankees, down 3-0. No one's ever come back from 3-0 in the World Series. Of course, the Yankees, the only team to ever blow a 3-0 lead in a 7-game series in baseball's history with the 0-4 Red Sox in the ALCS. So for the Yankees to win the World Series, it would be a lot of history. Currently, they are 12-1 to come back. And that is just not enough juice whatsoever, in my opinion, which is a little frustrating because I wouldn't mind taking a shot at it, right? I wouldn't mind getting involved and, okay, here we go, but I don't really think 12-1. It doesn't feel good enough to me, at least. Now, maybe if you went moneyline rollover, right? Maybe you would come up short of a 12-1 marker. And in fact, you probably would. And here's why. The Yankees tonight, right now, just using FanDuel's odds, are minus 146 to win the baseball game. The Yankees being favored does not at all mean that they will win the game. They were favored yesterday. But it shows that the Yanks aren't showing up here, right, with no chance. If the New York Yankees do win this game, you would imagine Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4 days rest. You'd imagine Garrett Cole goes. You'd imagine he would get the ball on the Wednesday to finish out the Bronx portion of the World Series. Well, if he does, the Yanks will be favored again. Now, that doesn't necessarily matter. But when we are trying to evaluate whether or not a team can come back, right, and actually, pull off what feels like the impossible, it's not like, when the Miami Heat a few years ago in the Eastern Conference Finals were up 3-0 on the Boston Celtics. And then ultimately that series went 7 and Boston had the home game 7 and were huge favorites to win the game, right? You saw how difficult it was, but also the fact that it was so on the board. It was with the odds. We knew that Boston was favored to still win all of the games. So if the Yankees were to win the games that they are going to be favored in for the rest of this series, right? If the favorite's going to win the rest of the games of the World Series, then that would actually suggest that this will go 6, right? Which is a plus 500 ticket out there if you are interested in potentially getting down on something like that. Which I don't hate, by the way. Plus 500. I don't mind that at all, right? You'd have to cash Yanks money line for 2 games, and then you'd be sitting on a Dodgers 5-1. That's probably where the rollover would be a little bit better than maybe necessarily playing it at that number. But for the New York Yankees, when we evaluate this series, it's oddly, it feels like they are massively mismatched. And that kind of is always how it is when someone is up 3-0 in a best-of-7 series, right? But we look back towards game number 1, and the Yankees absolutely should have won that game. Now, it's not that they were robbed, but they allowed the way they lost that game was just unimaginable, right? Okay, you've now lost what was a necessary result because you have to take one in Los Angeles. Game number 2, they're being shut out the entire way. But the Dodgers didn't score past the 3rd inning. The Yankees in that game had an opportunity for some magic in the bottom of the 9th. The Yankees didn't deserve to win the game, but all of a sudden they made a game of it. Yesterday was the game that they were most dominated in. But even still, a Verdugo home run with 2 outs, and you start to ask yourself, well, I don't know, if Glaber can get on, Soto comes up, and then anything's possible, right? Well, they didn't get that timely hit. And now the Yankees, you're sat there thinking to yourself, man, are we going to get any timely hits in this series? Well, if it's going to happen, it would be sure nice if your captain had one. Look, I'm not telling you that the Yankees are down 0-3 in this series entirely because of Aaron Judge. What I'm telling you is this Aaron Judge performance, not just in the World Series, but in this postseason, is a legacy changer. Unfortunately, you see the hat, one of my favorite players I've seen. But Judge playing as poorly as he did in both the Kansas City and Cleveland series felt like a situation then where the Yankees could go, wait, we're winning without our best guy being all right? I mean, if Judge can hit his level, we got ourselves a real chance to close this out. And he just got worse. Just worse. This is the worst he's played so far of any of the three series. The World Series started, and he got even worse. And that's just indefensible. And that's how a team who has been tracking towards this World Series shows up and kind of feels non-competitive. Break, we're back with you on SportsGrid Radio.
It's a choice.
Roll the dice
Or listen to us. Luck is finding a good parking spot. Strategy is getting the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Apple is releasing a free software update that will inject its first dose of artificial intelligence into its iPhone 16 lineup as the trend-setting company tries to catch up with technology's latest craze.
With the SportsGrid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg.
This update brought to you by Bank of America Merrill Investments. The upgrade to the iOS 18 operating system on Monday arrives more than a month after 4 iPhone 16 models equipped with the special computer chip needed to power the AI features went on sale at prices ranging from $800 to $1,200. Last year's premium models, the iPhone 15 Pro and iPhone 15 Pro Max, also possess a processor that will enable the AI technology after the software update is installed. This year's Rockefeller Center Christmas tree will travel to New York City from West Stockbridge, Massachusetts. The Norway spruce will be cut down November 7th and make the roughly 140-mile journey south, arriving November 9th in Midtown Manhattan. It will be lit during a live TV broadcast December 4th.
I'm Trey Westerberg with the SportsGrid News Flash.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products, stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together. So visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, you know to check you have a full tank of gas first before road tripping through the desert.
Empty? Seriously? Maybe I can walk.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Maybe I can't.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Here's some brutal truth.
You can listen to SportsGrid for strategies, odds, and more and live the good life. Or you can dig out the change from your sofa cushions.
Ooh, sticky.
We told you it was brutal. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Let's go get him, Chuck. All right, back at you on this Tuesday. Kevin Walsh hanging out on SportsGrid Radio. Mammoth Hops pouring cold water all over the Yanks. Understandable. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. It feels a little lifeless. Again, the Judge stuff has kind of just been baffling me for some time, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. It's very unlikely that this gets fixed. He's 80-1 to win World Series MVP if you'd like to take a chance. I would say, I know this will sound silly, but so if you look in the World Series MVP market, then I'm going to move off baseball. The Dodgers to win is minus 2,000. And Freeman to win World Series MVP is minus 1,900. Freddie is going to win World Series MVP if this series is over within the next 2 games. Okay? It's going to be like Tommy Edmonds having a nice World Series, but 7 of the 14 team RBI belong to Freddie Freeman for the LA Dodgers. He's hit 3 of their 5 home runs. Freddie is going to win this as long as it is done within the next 2 games. On the Yankees side, though, they, as a team, have only hit 3 home runs: Verdugo, Stanton, and Soto. RBI, Verdugo's 2-run shot, right? Stanton has, 3 RBI. That's it, right? I mean, they've only scored 7 runs in the series. In terms of batting average, Stanton, Soto, both hitting 300. That's it. Certainly the books have those guys kind of out in front right now at 48-1. Again, if the Yankees were, though, to pull off the unimaginable, anyone can win it. Anyone. Judge, Rizzo, Glaber, Chisholm, Verdugo. Because if the Yankees did pull it off, the first 3 games won't matter. It won't, right? It'll be what happens in 4. Now, that doesn't mean Stanton and Soto can't win. It's just, it won't matter. What they've done through the first 3 games won't matter anywhere near as much as someone potentially going on some crazy heater. All right, that's the World Series portion of it all. You want to shoot over to Monday Night Football quick, because then we can kind of do some basketball with the people here. We'll get JP, our producer, of course, in the show as well, and get some thoughts from him on a few things. But, man, with Pittsburgh, New York, there's a few ways you can go with it. I think the first one, and for me, what's really the most important one, is the fact that betting against this Pittsburgh secondary looks like something that can be done with confidence. I went into last night's game feeling that the Daniel Jones 188.5 passing number was far too low. He clears it. Now, I understand that the final drive is what allowed Daniel Jones to get way up there into the 264 marker, but Daniel Jones also had about 140 passing yards at the break. The Giants stalled out a little bit at half. The Giants are not a prolific pass attack. Well, the quarterbacks that are now on the remaining Pittsburgh schedule, here's the full list. Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, Jameis Winston, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's the list. Look, Jameis is a gunslinger. That's 2 of the games. Okay? Let's remove him for a second. Here are the other 5 quarterbacks, because obviously they'll play some teams twice with the division. In fact, this team somehow, playing in the AFC North, has played none of their division games left. That's one of the reasons the Pittsburgh schedule is so difficult, because they've played, in the first 8 weeks, 0 of the 6 divisional games. Remove Jameis. Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Pat Mahomes. Are you kidding me? So, for the Steelers, if we're seeing vulnerability within the secondary, 1, it's going to be hard to win games, or you're going to have to win games with Russ playing really well. 2 games, you love what you've seen. I have questions about it holding. But for us, for the prop backers, right? Jaden Daniels passing yards through numbers, right? Lamar passing yards through numbers. Cleveland Browns. All right, maybe we, move to Jerry Jeudy. Cincinnati. All right, T. Higgins could have a big breakout performance. You kind of get the idea. They're on bye. Out of sight, out of mind. Something to remember when this team gets back out there week 10 and potentially the rest of the way. Pittsburgh's defense is a great reputation. But all I know is we're getting yardage now if we're betting props. And that's what's important if we are betting those props, and we are. On the Giants side of things, It's kind of a result where if you're honest with yourself, not much to be angry about. You saw Tyrone Tracy look great. You saw Darius Slayton make some big plays. Malik Neighbors be Malik Neighbors. And Daniel Jones was fine, but he was also Daniel Jones enough to make sure you lost that game. Because if you're the New York Giants, let's pull up the draft standings right now. If you're the New York Giants, you're 2-6. And you might think to yourself, man, we are barreling towards the top pick. The Giants are right now on Tankathon, drafting 9th. Things are going to change. Updated win totals would probably have the New York Giants winning fewer games than some of the teams in front of them. Jacksonville and the Jets most notably, right? But we all know the Giants are going to draft quarterback in April. There's no way they don't. Even if they fire the whole regime, they're going to look to start new. Losses are key. They just are when it comes to the New York Giants. So last night, they got another correct result. We'll see how it looks the rest of the way. We'll be back with you on SportsGrid Radio after this
break. Get the SportsGrid mobile app. Take us to places where the wife would definitely not approve.
Not counting the bank.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1942, Branch Rickey is named president and GM of the Brooklyn Dodgers.
The whole situation in breaking the barrier was done simply because we had a purpose in mind to go out and win.
Rickey ushered in integration into baseball with Negro League players like Jackie Robinson, Roy Campanella, and Don Newcomb.
And it was just fantastic the way the fans responded and reacted.
For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Researchers at the University of Science and Technology of China have developed a soft robotic medical finger that can be used clinically to check your pulse, perform examinations, and even check for abnormalities under the skin. This robotic finger can even type like a human hand, spelling out words.
Goosebumps.
The goal? An intelligent, dexterous hand attached to a sensorized, artificial, pneumatic, muscle-driven robotic arm, mimicking the unparalleled functions and fine manipulations currently only possible with actual human hands. Follow me at G Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Moneyline. The Broncos 3-0 against the number as the favored side. Donnie, Denver is 5-3. They look like a playoff team at this moment.
Yes, they're going to make the playoffs. And by the way, the pettiness of Sean Payton, I've always loved to bet into. That doesn't look like a rookie quarterback playing quarterback anymore. No. Get him experience in his rookie season, and look how well it's paying off where that's being a damn good coach.
Catch Moneyline with Donnie Rightside and Kevin Walsh. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific. On the SportsGrid Radio Network. Don't be that guy.
You know the kind.
They're superstitious, carry good luck charms, and have extravagant rituals to win. There's an easier way.
Listen to us. It beats carrying 4-leaf clovers everywhere.
Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
All right, we're here with you on SportsGrid. Let me mix in a little NBA for the people, huh? Lakers lose one last night, which was a little frustrating just because I'm invested within this Lakers season. But also, they lost it for a few reasons, but LeBron was a huge one. The starting lineups plus minuses were even for Russ, plus 12 Reeves, plus 14 AD, 20 plus for Rui. And then LeBron was a negative 17 in a game. He shot 3 of 14 from the field and 1 of 9 from 2. This trend started, I noticed it a little bit last year, but when LeBron does come off of those 30-point games, a lot of times the next game's not that great. LeBron was awesome against the Kings the fourth quarter. He was better in the first 3 minutes of the fourth quarter than he was the entire game here up against the Phoenix Suns. But if you're the LA Lakers, again, you have played 4 games all against teams that were projected to finish higher than you in the standings. 3-1 is great. 3-1 is absolutely great. They go to Cleveland. They're going to be a dog in that game. I want to see what happens the first time the Lakers are actually laying a real number. Every game the Lakers have played is a round pick, right? A round pick, right? That's like the ballpark number. What was the number last night in Phoenix? 4.5. So they were a dog. Actually covered the number, which is funny. I want to see, though, when they go to Toronto, when they go to Detroit, when they host Toronto, games like that, because the Lakers, for especially under Darvin, good fade as a favorite. I want to see if they can rout a team, right? If you look at the margins within these Laker games, it's 7 points, 7 points, 4 points, 4 points, which is no one's separating on them, but they're not separating and leaving anyone at bay either. I'm interested to see kind of how that develops for the LA Lakers. A few other things just kind of from yesterday, but the Milwaukee Bucks were a team. I actually yesterday, ended up having a rough night in the association. It was the football that really saved the day. And look, some of it is outlier, right? Like some bets that I placed, I'd be like, I'd place that 100 times out of 100. Marcus Smart, I took him over 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He finished that game with 11 rebounds plus assists. He shot the ball 11 times with 8 threes. So I needed 7 points based on what he did in the rebounds and assist category, and I had 11 field goals and 8 3-point attempts. He scored 1 basket. He scored 1 point, which was a free throw. He shot 0 for 11 and 0 for 8. I'll take my chances with Smart. That was in a Ja Morant is out angle, so that's something that I'll have to circle up and get back to. Alperen Şengün, I wanted to take a chance on a bounce back spot. Alperen Şengün was benched against the San Antonio Spurs. They went and played that same team. Alperen Şengün is viewed as one of the building blocks, or is supposed to be one of the building blocks of this Rockets' future, right? Well, all of a sudden, right, Houston benches him. The next game out, Fred VanVleet played 41 minutes. Şengün played 26. Maybe that was the foul trouble, but he ended up not getting over the 30.5 PRA, finished with 12 points, 12 boards, and 5 dimes. We were there. We were a basket away. The big man shot 5 of 14. Okay, I'm not upset about that wager. But maybe my Michael Porter Jr. bounce back spot over 2.5 made threes is something that won't apply this season. I'm looking for a bounce back spot when the first 2 games weren't all too stellar. He only shot 4 times from 3. I mean, they only shot 23-point attempts, the Denver Nuggets, in their victory in overtime against the Toronto Raptors. That is shockingly low. That is not modern basketball, quite frankly. It's just not. So maybe then that's a little bit of a lesson learned. I had Bam Adebayo over the 16.5 and part of like an Equinox parlay. And Bam finished with 12. I'm stunned to see it, but Bam Adebayo is coming out of the gate just completely incapable of scoring the basketball. 12 matched his season high. He's a guy that was averaging almost 20 a night last season. So maybe Bam's going to struggle to score the basketball, right? Those are the kind of things that we got to figure out a little bit, and we're going to continue to grease the wheels here throughout this NBA season and find that rhythm. Again, it's a 4-game board tonight. We'll talk a little bit about what sticks out with you and maybe some early reactions with our guy JP as well, right here, Sirius XM Channel 1.
Attitude is everything.
Don't say I lost today.
Say I gained powerful insight into why I need to pay attention to SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
For Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Monday Night Football, the Steelers beat the Giants 26-18. Pittsburgh 6-2 with the win, 3-1 at home. The Giants dropped to 2-6 overall, 2-2 away from home. Pittsburgh quarterback Russell Wilson, 20 of 28 passing, 278 yards, 1 touchdown. He connected with Calvin Austin III. Austin also had a punt return touchdown, 73 yards with 4:38 left in the third quarter. That put Pittsburgh up 16-9 at the time. His TD reception from Wilson came with 13:16 left in the fourth and gave the Steelers a 23-9 lead. Daniel Jones, 24 of 38 for the Giants, 264 yards. He was picked off once. Both quarterbacks faced lots of pressure. Jones sacked 4 times for a loss of 27, while Wilson was sacked 4 times for a loss of 19. The Steelers have wins in 3 straight. They sit atop the AFC North. 3 straight losses for the Giants.
Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products, stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together. So visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Fabric Talk. Hello, my love. I am your living room carpet. I see everything. I feel everything. After a while, I smell like everything, including Sir Pickles, who you snuggle with while binging that dating show you can't stop watching. So, how about we freshen things up with Febreze Fabric Spray? Oh, and a big spray for my pals, couch and ottoman. Ah, yes, refreshing. Breathe happy, Febreze. La 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 la.
Before your very eyes.
The boys of summer are about to become the champions of fall.
MLB playoffs are coming.
And SportsGrid will bring you all the angles, strategies, and info.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
All right, let's get in here, man. SportsGrid Radio with you. We've got a 4-game board on the association. Here's what the eyes, okay, or here's where the eyes go. All right. Firstly, Minnesota laying 5.5 to Dallas. Dallas, second leg of a back-to-back. I went, ooh, is Luka not playing? I'm not seeing him on the injury report, though. Let's see if Luka has props. He does. So I'm way lower on Minnesota. Way lower on Minnesota. I'm surprised by that number. 5.5. I don't know. I'll tell you this, though. Somebody who bet the Bucks yesterday catching the 9. And, a halftime lead can't cover the 9. It is what it is with that team. I think that's more about Milwaukee than Boston. I'm not trying to take credit away from Boston, but the Bucks are in shambles early season. When it comes to the NFL, I feel like often one of the big things to figure out, what is home field advantage worth? In the NBA, we know home court is worth something, right? It can vary from moment to moment. But I think for me, early season is trying to figure out what the value is on a team playing the second leg of a back-to-back. Because Dallas, Minnesota, look, preseason, they had very, very, very similar numbers to win the West championships. So let's just say the books are power rating them even. If that's true, right, then you go, okay, what's home court worth? 2 points, 3 points? Let's meet in the middle. If home court advantage is worth 2.5 in the NBA, then we're saying playing on the second leg of a back-to-back is worth 3 points? I don't agree with that. Does that feel right to people? It's worth a lot if guys aren't going to play, right? Maybe books are early morning shooting numbers a little bit, wondering if guys are going to get in the mix, right? Luka's out. Now it's not a scramble to get this to 8, right? Or 9. Maybe. For me, though, that looks a little too strong. Sacramento's on a back-to-back, playing the Jazz on the road. Denver's on a back-to-back, off of an overtime game, going to Brooklyn to play the Nets. And then late night, the hobbled Warriors are going to be playing against the New Orleans Pelicans. And this would be really interesting to see, because I was pretty low coming into the season on Golden State within, that big season outlook. And that team ended up, starting red hot. Now, they played the two worst teams in the Western Conference, because that's what I fully, undeniably believe, or what that's how I feel when it comes to the Blazers and the Jazz. But I wanted to just kind of pull up some of my notes here. So Steph last season played 74 games. If you think about the amount of games Steph typically misses, right? Again, he's probably going to miss close to like 15 games in a given year. And I viewed their roster, and to me, I felt this was a group far too reliant on Steph Curry. For me, coming into the year, I felt they were too reliant on Steph Curry being great. And just because, some of the stuff's a weird fit. I don't think Draymond being your second best player is crazy. If it's Kuminga, that's weird, because there are people who don't even think he should be starting. And I didn't love being overly reliant on Steph if I'm the Warriors. One, because of health. And two, if you look last year during the second half of the NBA season, Steph took a dip. Not that he was bad, but he was nowhere near, an MVP caliber player. He wasn't a top 10 player in basketball. You then go back to the Olympics. I know people are like, are you about to say bad things about Steph and the Team USA run? Look, Steph had like 8 good quarters, if that. I don't even know if he had 8 good quarters of basketball at the Olympics. The moments were incredible. It's one of the most enjoyable basketball experiences of my life, watching that team. Again, like the joke, right? Remember when it was him and Anthony Edwards, or they were on the live? They're like, yeah, Steph got here 2 days ago. Steph wasn't great. Preseason, Steph was bad. Steph was bad in the preseason. Let me see if I have. Did I just get rid of it? I just had it up. But Steph was bad in the preseason. He was. Now, he was efficient for the moments he was out there against the Clippers and looked like he was on his way to having a game. And I bet on Steph in the game, actually. I was, here on a Saturday night or Sunday night, and I took Steph over 24.5 points, first game back at home. He was on his way. But now, if you're the Warriors, this is a big swing spot here to me, because I felt they were too reliant on a Steph Curry who could have some injury issues. So far, yes. And could have some efficiency struggles. So far, yes. Small samples. Now what happens when you're without him? Now, figuring out how long Steph is going to be away is difficult. But let's grab it with the 2 home games and then the road trip. They'll play back-to-back games at home against New Orleans, and it is a legitimate back-to-back. They then go on the road for 5. Houston, Washington, Boston, Cleveland, Oklahoma City. If Steph misses the next 7 games for the Golden State Warriors, who are now a home dog tonight, if you look at those games, they are going to, that means, be booked as an underdog in 6 of the 7 games. And that's not that's Steph missing about 2 weeks. Maybe he'll be back much sooner than that. But that's 2 weeks of basketball that Steph would be out. You're not going to lose every game you're a dog in. You're not going to win every game you're a favorite in. But all of a sudden, the 2-0 beating everyone by a million Warriors, who got to play Portland and Utah out of the gate, might pick their heads up at the end of their opening 10 games of the season. And if they're 5-5, they should throw a party, is now what it feels like. That's now what it feels like. It also kind of makes the game against New Orleans tonight important, or overly important. if you don't beat them here, you then get the back-to-back. You're already shorthanded, so now you'll be even more shorthanded in the basketball game. You'll be starting your 0-2 at home, right? That's always a prideful team about their home building, their fans. It's early, right? No one's kind of rushing to say season done. But it is interesting, and, maybe I'm over-projecting how much Steph could miss, but the win total preseason, 43.5, is just 43. It's still 43.5. I'm not going to run to bet some under. I'm not going to do that. But, this team to miss the playoffs, it's on the board. I expected it preseason. But I don't know if that's where we need to be going right now. I don't know if we need to be adding a wild amount of futures for that. Again, SportsGrid on Demand in this, in the chat, Bart says, what's the word? And then Mammoth is asking for a producer pick from JP. And if I know JP, he's on the board tonight. I know he's probably been on the board throughout the opening week of the NBA season. So let's get JP in the mix here on the other side. Maybe his biggest reaction, biggest takeaway from the first 7 days of the NBA. And we'll get to it all on the other side. Don't change that dial. Sirius XM, channel 115.
Yeah, it's getting cooler.
Football weather is here.
Stay tuned for all the latest odds, strategies, and info. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
The Dodgers beat the Yankees 4-2 to take a commanding 3-0 series lead in the best-of-7 World Series. Dodgers pitching blanked the Yankees until 2 outs in the ninth. New York was down to its last strike when Alex Verdugo hit a 2-run homer. Dodgers pitchers combined for 11 strikeouts. Starter Walker Buehler went 5 innings and struck out 5, allowing just 2 hits. Freddie Freeman hit a 2-run homer for the Dodgers. That scored Shohei Ohtani, who played despite injuring his shoulder in Game 2. Mookie Betts and Teoscar Hernandez added RBI singles. LA 1 win away from a championship. Game 4 is tonight in the Bronx. It'll be a bullpen game for the Dodgers. They haven't announced a starter. Luis Gil getting the ball for the Yankees. If the Yankees can win tonight, they'd extend it to Game 5 tomorrow in the Bronx.
Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Smoothie bar, asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double hot, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Hey, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Well, I do now.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
Did you say you're cutting me off?
You earn, we match. Unlimited cashback match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
There once was a dude named Sid. He never won and felt disgusted. He got the winning edge, his friends would allege, all for just listening to SportsGrid. If Sid can do it,
so can you. Get the winning edge.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
All right, let's get him in here, man. SportsGrid Radio, Sirius XM, channel 159. I'm Kevin Walsh. Our producer, JP, hot on the NBA season. JP, how we feeling a week in?
Great. I'm just so happy we have basketball back.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I've been trying to lead the charge as much as I can for the, NFL or against maybe just the people who are like anti-NBA because of injury stuff. And then like, we bet the NFL and every game. It's like, oh, look, another guy got hurt and blew up a parlay. But tell me this before we get into picks tonight. Is there anything that you've seen so far where you're like, man, I don't want to overreact, but this looks bad, or I don't want to overreact, but this looks awesome?
Yeah, the Nuggets look awful, and I don't want to overreact because Jamal Murray's been out to a slow start, but they lose a piece every year, and it looks like this might be the year where it finally nips them.
So I agree fully, but I don't know what to do with that because Jokic can't be the best player in the world, and then we're sat there like, you think they missed the playoffs? I mean, they grabbed the win against Toronto. They're favored to beat Brooklyn tonight. All of a sudden, you'd be like, they're 500, right? But they look terrible. And it's not like they've opened the season where it's like, oh, man, they're playing. They played OKC game 1. Well, they were favored. They're home, right? I know the Thunder are really good. They ended up getting cracked in that game. The Clippers handled them. I mean, the Raptors should have beat them, right? Again, it's a good comeback by Denver. I agree with you fully. I don't like what I'm seeing, and I don't know how they fix it. They're going to have to trade Porter Jr. or Aaron Gordon, right, just to make a big swing?
They have to do something to generate more shots because, I mean, teams are leaving Christian Braun out there like he doesn't know how to play basketball, and then you have no one off that bench that's going to come in and shoot for him. So it's just you're playing 5-on-4, and you can't play basketball like that in the year 2024.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Tell me, I mean, listen, the Lakers season has been a fun start, but people have been asking for years, like, can AD pass LeBron? And it's just like, no, he just won't do it. I mean, it's not even that AD in this moment is actually seemingly finally past LeBron. Anthony Davis comfortably has been one of the 5 most impressive players to start this season. JP, real? Fake? Like, are we just going to get like a 16-point game from him out of nowhere?
I think it's so real. It's just the creativity in which they're getting him the ball because the last few years it's just been like, give him the ball at the elbow and see if he could generate some points, which is like an impossible task for anyone in the NBA outside of Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic. It's just not realistic to ask from someone, but they're running him off pin downs, making him the screener, rolling him getting him in spots where he could score the ball easily, which is such a big difference.
Yeah, it's been really nice to see. I think Redick's kind of already flashed the I'm good thing enough that like people can tell. Let me ask you about one more. Boston's 4-0. And it's an interesting sample size that they have. But I feel that when you look in the awards market, JP, it feels like the books are like, they might win 70 games. It's 4 games, but man, they have come out red hot.
I mean, I think the Bucks might be right. They are genuinely unstoppable at this point. Like everything that teams do, even if they have these historic quarters or guys go off, the Celtics just answer because they shoot the 3-point ball at a higher percentage than you and they shoot it more than you. And there's just very little you can do as a team to stop them from doing it. And then defensively, they switch everything. They're always in your face and they guard you 40 feet away from the basket. Wow. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's one of those things that team, again, off to a phenomenal start. All right, JP, talk to me about tonight with the 4 games here. What are you trying to get involved with?
Yeah, I'm looking at the Pelicans-Warriors game, which I know you kind of mentioned a bit. The line is 1.5 right now on FanDuel. I don't understand that. You don't have Steph Curry, and that's alarming. And the Pelicans, I know they're without DeJounte Murray earlier in the season, but Jordan Hawkins has shot the lights out of the ball. That offense is humming. I don't see how they don't not just win that game, but win convincingly.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I wonder if maybe them getting blown out by Portland has put a little bit of value on a number like that. I also wonder if books are maybe struggling to know how much do we adjust with Steph and without Steph, right? And I'm not telling you I'm only looking New Orleans in that basketball game because one of the reasons I was out on Golden State preseason is I thought they were too reliant on Steph. Like, is Andrew Wiggins stepping up and scoring 25 for them tonight, JP? He might not even
Andrew
play.
Wiggins, yeah, he's not even going to play, I don't think. And then you look to the guys, it's Jonathan Kuminga who the Bucks think is going to go off. He goes off when Steph's not there. I get that, but you're hanging him at 20.5, and then you got Buddy Hield at 17.5. And if you want to see Buddy Hield be the number one option for a team go look at where he's done that. It's been abysmal. They lose games by 1,000 points because he shoots 2 for 20 and doesn't defend anyone, and then they're down by 30 in the third quarter. So I don't know what they're looking at here. I'm taking the Pelicans all the way.
Isn't it incredible? And look, I know that I'm about to defend what is really a bad basketball player. Isn't it incredible how much they shouldn't have gotten? Like, they should have never traded Jordan Poole. Like, am I on an island? Am I on an island here?
No.
Like, Poole was good for them in the Steph is out, I'll do an impression of Steph thing.
Yeah, no, I actually fully agree with you. Like, he is the piece that would fit so perfectly with them right now. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how they do that. Let me ask you this before we hit this commercial. I know we're running up against it. If I can. If not, we'll do it on the other. But, like, how much do you worry about when teams are on back-to-backs? Because the Dallas spread looks too big to me. I feel like the Mavericks would be the side there.
Yeah, I know. I worry about it a lot, especially because, I mean, the analytics now, it's basically if you're down X amount of points in this point in the game, you're just not putting your stars back in. You go down by 10 in the fourth. Luke is not coming back in until there's 7 minutes. And if it's even close, if it's not close, they're not even putting him back in. They just don't do the same things they used to do with their star players anymore.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, I hear that. Kind of call off the dogs a little bit earlier. It's a good point. It's a good point. All right, let's hit the break here, man. Awesome stuff as always from JP. Awesome stuff with you here on SportsGrid. What we're going to do is take this commercial break and then come back and close it out with college football as we usually do here on these Tuesdays.
SportsGrid is committed to bringing you sports gaming strategies and information 24/7.
We're not doing this for our health.
This is our job. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. SportsGrid Radio presents Legends of the Fall.
Game 3 of the 2011 World Series. Cards first baseman Albert Pujols becomes only the third player to hit 3 home runs in the Fall Classic.
And he hits me, and here goes one into left. How about 3 on the night in a row? A 3-run shot, a 2-run home run, and now a solo blast.
For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and SiriusXM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Moneyline at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern. And Pharrell, Coast to Coast, keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi. Then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Football Full Circle.
The Jets are done. They're 2-6. The Patriots are 2-6. I know it has not been worth the investment in Aaron Rodgers. It is just incredible to see how bad a mismanaged franchise can be when a 40-year-old quarterback who cares more about ayahuasca than football calls all the shots.
It's Football Full Circle with Ben Stevens and Joe Lisi. Weekdays noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network.
We're here 7 days a week,
giving you the actionable insights and expert perspectives you need to win.
And here's more good news.
It's free. So stay tuned and get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Back with you on a Tuesday, SportsGrid Radio. It's going to be Football Full Circle next here on SiriusXM Channel 159. So make sure that you stay locked in as my radio partner walks out on me. Dog on a Tuesday, dog gets to stay in the room. She runs out. Can you believe that? Man, the college football slate last week had a few interesting spots, but nothing, it felt right, like overly significant. We didn't see any major upsets. In fact, I think the one upset within the top 25 games was BYU, the 11th ranked team at the time, winning at UCF because UCF were favored in the game. It's incredible, man, with the Big 12. Preseason, I was invested in the Big 12, being able to crash into the college football playoff at a plus price. I don't remember, plus 120 maybe. I took this conference to make the college football playoff or over 1.5 teams from the Big 12. And with that came me invested in Oklahoma State and Arizona. I really like those two teams, and I thought that Utah was the best of the bunch, so they had a legitimate, shout as well. Well, none of those teams are in the mix. Absolutely not a one has found themselves with a pulse. Oklahoma State is having one of the most disappointing seasons in all of college football. They are 0-5 in Big 12 play, which is completely unforgivable. But they've been so bad, it's not a big topic of conversation because it's just kind of pushed to the side. Arizona is 1-4 in Big 12 play, and it's been really sad to watch Noah Fifita fall apart. A quarterback who last season was 25 touchdowns to 6 picks, is 11 touchdowns to 10 picks, and is completing less than 60% of his passes, when last year he completed 72.5% of his attempts. Utah is a little easier to explain. Their season fell apart the second that Cam Rising was again injured. They are also 1-4 in Big 12 competition and have lost 4 games in a row. But the Big 12 has 4 ranked teams. And they have 2 unbeatens in BYU and Iowa State. They have a 1-loss Kansas State and a 2-loss 23rd ranked Colorado Buffaloes. BYU wins out, they'll be in the playoff. If Iowa State wins out, they'll be in the playoff. And I'm not sure I mean even from the auto bid. If an unbeaten Iowa State plays an unbeaten BYU in the Big 12 championship game, which is possible because neither team is, slated to play one another, then you really should see a situation where they both make it. K-State is the highest power-rated group. Maybe Iowa State now, but K-State is right there. From the power rating perspective, they will be playing Iowa State on the road. You see the tail. Going. She came back to close out the hour. K-State is going to play Iowa State in the finale, which if they win that game, and it would be an upset, though, being on the road against Iowa State, they would be able to crash in. And at that point, Kansas State would likely be favored. Now, they could end up playing Iowa State, again, in the Big 12 title game, which would be incredible. And they would have a chance. Colorado is really interesting because there's a lot of people who think that the ratings and all of it gets considered heavily when it comes to the rankings. I don't really think they do that. But Colorado is at Texas Tech after their bye, home against Utah, at Kansas, and then home against Oklahoma State. Preseason, they were supposed to be a dog in all of those games. All of them. I think they're going to be favored in all of them now. If this team finishes 10-2, first of all, Deion should probably be able to get any power job he wants. Because if you recruit at his level, you already have a foot in the door. You know what he kind of brings from a star power perspective. If we're going to win at the level, if Colorado goes 10-2, man, and we get Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter in the CFP, that would be great. That would be great. It'll be tough, but if you look, the Big 12 odds right now, 4 teams under 5-1, and then it's a 65-1 shot outside of it. It's going to be a fun race. We'll follow it. I'll see you tonight on Game Time Decisions.
Just to clarify, we're not saying the winning edge will help you win the lottery.
But if it ever does, aren't you glad you're